Hey everybody, it's Alex. Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to you too, Cat. Welcome to Magnum Opus on Super Mario Bros. This game is like bread. I love bread. It's like you don't even need to think about if you own it, you probably have some somewhere. Bread is delicious! White people love it. But Alex, X, Y, or Z's the best Mario game. I'm not. Do I have to do the Beyonce thing again? Mario, I could not possibly say one of the games in all of Mario's games is the best Magnum Opus of all of them. There are different developers for some series, especially the 3D ones. So today, we're going to be looking at the first Mario game before this one. I mean, I don't look at a brick wall and go, whoa, a great invention. Especially when my head's been bashed into that wall for years. Mario, take a hike. I'm not pirating your stupid game. How many levels do I have to play where I'm running on this asshole? Whoa, I'm in a pipe. Whoa, it's him. Whoa. God. I think we just about got the point. But distancing myself from gaming and the internet for a second, isn't it kind of ridiculous? This game was made 35 years ago, and not only is Mario still around, his games are still incredibly popular and on top of the gaming industry. That makes this really hard because this game is so basic. I want to talk about it, but what more could I glean from it? 19 minutes worth, apparently. So we have a lot of options here. We could play it on this, these, and even this. These are all reliable, high-quality options. So why do I want to play it on a sewing kit? You know I live in an apartment and I had to throw my oven just to make room for this. I mean, now you can play this game on your phone, but think about it. You need 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in order to get this to work. There's a hitch. You are done for, my friend. Oh my god, this hinge. Alright, I guess let's start this up. Is that even improper? Oh! I don't remember this version. So while I'm getting this to work, a little bit of background. Super Smash Bros. Melee was the first console game I owned. The first game I owned was this. Well, the first game where I was like, whoa, that's a character I can control on that screen? That's Super Mario Bros. We'd have family get-togethers with cousins, and I'd mosey onto the back room because of... But it's where I saw this Tupperware container and was transfixed with the Italian plumber on the screen. That's right, kids. This is what cell phones looked like. Oh my, this is so nostalgic for me. I was 3 or 4 when I was first introduced to this. At that point, the most impressive game I ever saw was Mousetrap. I vividly remember Worlds 1-1 and 1-2. I guess those are the only mandatory levels you have to play in the whole game. But for me, every time I would go to 1-2, take the Warp Zone, go to 4-2, take the Vine, then end up in World 8, and then... I was gonna take out my garbage today, but here I am. But going back to World 1-1, it's every level every player has seen, and now it's been studied to death. Like, God, there's like college courses on it. In life, there are sometimes places, smells, tastes that really take you back. For me, it's these sets of stairs. I don't know what it is about them, but it always just brings me back to the first time I played this game. Like, there's this one where you can clear it, but I always fell in the hole, and then the second one that's like, oh shit, if you fall, that's it, kid. You're dead. There are all these little micro-interactions that really remind me of my first gaming experience, and I imagine that's the case for a lot of people that had this game as their first. These perilous platforms you have to jump between with your butt puckering every time you make the jump. And there's this hidden star block you have to work for, and the small gap you have to figure out your way through as Big Mario. Seriously, if you're big here, did they just expect that you take damage so you could fit in the hole? And okay, I know, you just run and crouch, but that was way above my pay grade. This is what I thought chickens looked like. Oh, well wait a minute. If these are bricks, and those are bricks, does that mean I can... Okay, check it. It's gonna sound really stupid, but I'm gonna say it anyways. This was the first fourth wall break in a video game. It's the first Undertale. So back then, there were like these unwritten rules about what games could be. You start the level, you have the ceiling, you have the floor. To you, this is a closed space. Above the ceiling, that's where the score is, and nothing else pretty much should go there. But they give you some hints. If you find this one up, it goes on the top. And then you can also see that you could get up there if you really tried. And then when you do it, all your expectations break apart like those Nature Valley bars. But the big reason this is important, the end of the level. It's so smart. It looks as if you can't go up here. They make it so the pipe goes all the way to the top of the screen like it gets cut off by the TV. And mostly the ceiling looks flush, except for this indent. So if you use everything you learn and go on these rising platforms, euphoria. I think this is why the game did so good. Games before this, they were so predictable. What you see is what you got. But here, that might have been what kept people coming back. 1-1's often talked about as one of the most defining gaming levels, but I actually think it's 1-2 that's the most important level in this game. 1-1 sort of sets up how you're supposed to clear a Mario level, and then 1-2 lets you smash through those expectations. Mario, in 2 levels, basically defined the Mario formula. I mean, that's my theory, but I still mess this one up, so who am I to say? So I realize now that because I was always so pumped about the warp zones and the secrets, I actually never played the game the real way. So when I get to World 8, that's the end of my playthrough. You know, maybe I'd get better if I just played all the levels in the game. I mean, can't be that bad. Alright, Mamma mia! I'm a
well-adjusted and mild-mannered individual.
I remember late President Satoru Iwata had an interview in 2013 saying Nintendo games were being made to be easier, like Super Mario 3D World, Skyward Sword. And people were furious at this. They didn't want the hand-holding in their Mario and Zelda games, but the reason they came to that conclusion was because of some testing. They found that most people not only could not beat Mario 1, that 90% of them couldn't beat the first level. So, yeah, the game is hard. And I'll admit, over the years, I didn't realize it was so hard because, oh, fuck, jeez. As I was saying, I didn't realize it was so hard because I'm so good. I mean, I've seen this Princess Toadstool screen so many times, so it's not like I'm trying to find closure for the story of this game. It just may take me a little bit to actually get there and say that I've experienced all this game has had to offer. So let's talk about it. Peach's lip. What the hell is going on here? Did someone box her in the face? No, I just mean that's it. Congrats, idiot. You did it. Go have a bonus quest if you fucking have nothing else to do, but that's it. That's the game. You know nothing else about it. And in a way, I sort of think this created the fantasy tier echelon that Nintendo sort of sat upon through the 80s and 90s. But the story with this game and its developers is actually a lot more grounded. This game's the story of the early career of Shigeru Miyamoto. Nowadays, North America treats Miyamoto like the Japanese coming of Christ, like, oh my god. From 1963 to 1983, Nintendo was a game company, it was more of the old version of what games were, you know, toys, and when they did make home consoles, they came with a huge Pong-sized asterisk. So, when Miyamoto was hired by Nintendo, it was actually as an artist. His first gig was actually for this guy, the box artist Sheriff. So you may remember this homicidal maniac from Super Smash Bros. In more recent time, I remember unlocking him after beating target test under 13 minutes, but he is an assist trophy in the newer games. Look at him go, whoa, calm down there, buddy. It's kind of cool though, because he was around before Game & Watch. Anyways, back to Miyamoto. Contrary to what you might hear about him, he wouldn't move on to being part of the game side of things until 3 years later. And he wouldn't even be doing that much. He'd be doing the graphics and the art for this tabletop game called Radar Scope. Whoa, wait. You don't remember Radar Scope? Radar Scope? It was the first game Nintendo released overseas. It was historic. A colossal failure. Completely could have cost the company a lot of money. They had 2,000 units of this game. They could only sell 1,000, and this was like the first game Nintendo of America had to release as Nintendo of America. So basically they were a baby shit in their diaper. All of a sudden, the rookie Miyamoto was tasked with making a game for these unsold units, and fast. And this wasn't because he did a good job or anything, or he was a standout employee. Yamauchi literally said to him, no one else is available. So, what did Miyamoto end up doing with these Radar Scope machines? Oh yeah, this, well, this was just some obscure game about a bear, right? I mean, I don't really know if it did anything past this. That must have been really hard to count in quarters. You know Donkey Kong's actually also the first dating sim? And this would be an interesting inflection point. Donkey Kong took off and marked one of Nintendo's first big worldwide successes. But they also learned a little something. Huh. Guys, what were we doing here? Like, what is this? I get most of these, yeah, that's fine. But the ColecoVision, this just looks like a dog with a fez. So from what I can tell, before we got to Super Mario Bros., there were a ton of stops along the way. And each of these stops were hugely important to developing what that game is today. The first one was... yeah. Well, now I can't make Johnny Jumps a lot. Introducing the Famicom and the Nintendo Seal of Quality, now called the Seal of Approval because you could not seal this with quality. Basically, this ensured to customers of Nintendo that what they were buying was of quality, unlike many of the home console games that released before the crash of 1983. Next, Miyamoto specifically rethought how to begin designing a game. Starting with Donkey Kong, he thought of the game's premise well before the mechanics, meaning it was one of the first games to do this. So, point 2 in my opinion would be starting to think about not just the game, assets, and controls separately, but each of them interconnected to form a full experience. This would introduce us to the next member of what I'm going to call the Mario Avenger team, Takashi Tezuka. He got his beginning with Miyamoto when they made Devil World in 1984. In interviews where they recount their careers, they always turn to Tezuka like, yeah, that's around when you started. When you were thin! Damn thing's Japan and European exclusive. I guess they thought, Christianity wasn't big here. But it let you control a character double the size as before, which doesn't seem like a huge deal, but the closer characters got to looking like characters, the more players could be attracted to games. And the third and final point that really tie all of these together would be progression. Now, I was not alive when all of these games were being made and released, but it's clear that they very much reflected gambling or traditional games. They were just limited to one-screen experiences that you could do in a short time. And because of the hardware limitations, I guess they just didn't think that games could be anything more. However, Miyamoto and another member of the exclusive Super Mario Avengers team would begin developing Excitebike, Toshihiko Nakago. Nakago was actually integral to Miyamoto's career as he was the programmer for Donkey Kong, Punch-Out!, and Kung Fu. Excitebike, however, was a pretty big milestone because it gave way to multiple levels, course selection, and seamless screen scrolling. Not that I'd know from experience. So these three guys, they got all of their careers started around the same points. And you'll notice there's a lot of overlap with them and a lot in Nintendo's most iconic games. That's because within Nintendo, these guys are known as the Golden Triangle. Wait, a Golden Triangle? That's Pikmin, baby! These guys are still credited in games to this day, and they were the ones that made them all the way back then. But these are not the final members of Mario's Avenger squad. A lesser-known milestone would be Ice Climber. Yeah, they are important for something. That game had vertical scrolling and plenty of different levels with distinguished enemies. This would also be the first game programmed by Kazuaki Morita. Who the hell is that, the penguin from Madagascar? And finally, some musician they hired off the street. He wasn't that popular. And there we have it. Super Mario Bros. Was not simply an overnight idea Miyamoto had and put together himself. It's the product of these younger developers learning to make games for this new piece of hardware for years, only for me to keep dying to this hammer. I know, Shrek misunderstood Fiona, Fiona meant something different, and now Shrek's alone like at the beginning of the movie. I needed a break. But, because I've been playing so much, I've now downloaded every possible strategy. I know all of the secrets, I know every coin placement, every one-up, and now I can unlock my full potential. Don't look at me like that, okay? Hey, I'm bad, but even if I have W lives, I don't doubt that I'll lose them all. Let's give it one final shot. Go, 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 go! Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, no! Oh my god! How? Okay, go, 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 go! Alright, I made it. Alright, kiss my ass. Okay, just stay calm, just stay calm. This bullshit is gonna son of a bitch, you motherfucking son of a bitch, you eat my fucking ass, you piece of shit!
A Princess Peach Rosé.
That was actually pretty fun, gamer. There's gotta be a Walmart shirt that commemorates this. As far as it means for a game to hold up over this time period, this game does it pretty well. Obviously, yes, it's a hard game. I don't blame them for not knowing how to design a game because this was the game that actually gave them an audience. I didn't expect Mozart to write TikTok. But there's a certain organic feeling to controlling Mario here. I've played this game dozens of times on many different consoles, but holy croaks, it controls so well on this. This damn thing? This basic ass rectangle? How's this even ergonomic? I am completely baffled on how accurate the controls are.
I know, it's very on brand for me to be praising this game where Mario's color palette looks like vomit. But
this? What's so special? That each sprite was only a collection of 3 colors due to hardware? That the background layer was only limited to 16 colors with 4 blocks being forced to be in the same palette? That the limited art only was able to have 256 unique tiles on the screen at a time, utilizing bushes as clouds as a workaround? Or that the music was only limited to 3 channels of a... And then, to make some of the most iconic music in gaming? Or was it that the size of the NES cartridge was the same as this dumb picture of Yoshi? It was just the effort of all of these young Wait, how old was me? 33? Whew! I still got time. So collectively, these efforts to make something within really tight restraints, well, let's see if it paid off. How many zeros is that?
Finally tonight, the latest video game craze to sweep the United States and Japan. It's called Nintendo. We have a report from Lee Hochberg of public station KCTF Seattle.
There have been a bunch of games in history that, sure, changed the industry in terms of what they were doing, but none remain as competitive and as popular as Mario. But it's still not like he nor any of the gentlemen involved here could have anticipated what was going to be created when this released. He sort of just went to work, put his best foot forward for 6 years, made the right moves, and made Nintendo a lot of money. And the funny thing is, nowadays, these guys don't sit at any high positions of the company. Literally, Miyamoto's official position name is called Creative Fellow.
I mean, same, but I struggle to make rent.
Now that I've finished it, I sort of understand. I can't exactly take myself back to when it was released. I'm a month older than the game where Mario's a baby. But what I can grasp is it made games more than just a mechanical exchange between the player and whatever was displayed on screen. It was a game that felt like an adventure, a story. We all have those games in our past that we remember extremely well because of the immersive experiences that it let us have. And what I think happened was Super Mario Bros. Was one of the first games with the serious depth that let players do that. What Miyamoto says really brings people back to Mario is the creativity it lets you have with the gameplay. But I don't think he realized just how much people would explore Mario. From as early as December 1988, the 3rd issue of Nintendo Power, people were trying to perform the infamous minus world glitch. Alright, I've never done it, I better start levitating! I did it! I don't even like water levels, I'm just happy I did something. Now players are answering the question of, can you jump over the flagpole in 1-1? Well, I mean, anything's possible with a blood sacrifice. This, of course, leads to one of the extremes of exploring games to the fullest, speedrunning. This game is one of the shortest, but one of the most refined speedruns I've ever seen.
Holy cow, I almost knocked my chair over.
Okay, so he's like one of the best speedrunners. He has all my respect. But oh my god, he gets the world record and he's like,
Yes, dude.
yes.
We're talking it's gotten down so much that it doesn't change past a few frames. Not minutes, not seconds, frames.
455.430.
And to see this game being speedrun to this day, as the game that sort of invented speedrunning, it takes me back to when I thought the coolest trick you could do was running on the top of 1-2. I think that more or less summarizes it. So why is this game still held in such high regard? Is it just nostalgia? I mean, that's probably a bit of it, but there's definitely something here. This isn't simply just the first game to do what it was doing and it's not very good past that. It's actually a good game. There's a sense of immersion I have when I'm running on these mushroom mountains, sprinting across this fish-filled bridge. It really wasn't much, but given how limited they were, they really did a lot with it. This is what I would consider the magnum opus of Miyamoto's career. Pikmin fans are going to burn me at the stake. But sincerely, I don't think you could say it's anything else. In some ways, the gentlemen that built this game are responsible for all the Nintendo games you love now. I think simply, before this, game developers designed a game and they said, here are the rules, this is how you play it. Super Mario Bros. Gave players the game and said, go on, do whatever you want.
This has been Magnum Opus on Super Mario Bros. Honestly, I'm kind of getting tired of completing these games that are super tough to complete, so next time, we'll be talking about something with a few more layers. Anyways, this has been Alax, and I will see you on the flip side.